Okay, welcome back everyone. For the afternoon session, we have Norbert Preening, who is Principal Software Engineer at Archive, Cornell University. He is a researcher, developer, and open source enthusiast. Norbert, it's over to you.
Hi everyone. So, I mean, this is not archive related. It just happens that I'm also in the FOSSASIA team and care for a bit or a lot for the Eventier system. So the Eventier system, for example, the website of the conference here is run by the Eventier system. That is actually run by an old version, which we don't develop anymore. We just do bug fixes. We are working towards a new Eventier system. This is, you see parts of it. I mean, there's much more than this one here, parts of here already here on this page. Just to give you an idea, the new system will be used by the Wikimania conference. This is a huge conference with thousands of participants. So we are working on getting this, well, into a considerable stable state. My talk today is like actually boring. Because you could just read the document I wrote, which explains everything. So that would be the end of the workshop, but I will go with you through this just in case there are problems. Setting up the Eventier system, the new, is not trivial because it's several different programs or microservices running and communicating with each other. So at the moment for development, we have it's not necessary, but what is the easiest way to get everything connected and working is running in a Docker Compose. I will go through this setup here today. You can run things locally. This is also not a problem, but then you need a bit of more work to connect the pieces. I am working on a documentation for setup without Docker, because it would be much easier for developers, but that is ongoing work, so yeah, it will take a bit more time, because I'm also Muslim. Yeah, so this is a workshop. If you have a computer and want to follow along, feel free. Internet is available. What you need is preferable Linux machine or WSL. I'm not sure WSL works. Docker, NPM, Git, I mean, things you normally anyway have, hopefully on a new computer, and Docker Compose. These are more or less the basic things. Yeah, any questions? If something is not readable or unclear or whatever, I mean, it's a workshop, so it's not, I just speak the whole time, just stop me or ask or whatever is going on. Okay? So how do I do this? Do you have something to? No, come now, you don't. So as I said, this is the website. Of course, there are a lot of, no, it's okay. No, please. So this is the current which we are running. We don't set up this page because there are a few other things on the background, but somehow the basic setup of this page is what we want to have. So yeah, well, it's not so important. So what I want to say, it's practically, I say it actually it's boring because there is a readme.development.md in the Eventier Docker. So just to give you an idea, so this is in the FOSSASIA, no here, in the FOSSASIA GitHub repo, also we have an organization, and there is Eventier Docker is one of these, and that contains this readme development MD. Is this too small or it's not, that's not me, I have to say. Make it a bit bigger. That's too much. Okay, so yeah, there is a, and this is actually what we are going through. It's not very complicated, or it's a bit, but yeah, it's everything described. So as I mentioned, there's Docker Compose, NPM, and Git is necessary. If you want to contribute, then we require you to make forks of these 4 repositories. If you only want to contribute one, then you just make a fork of the one you are working on. So these are 4 components of the Eventier system we have. We have another system that is not included here at the moment, but that will come later on. So normally well, let's prepare working directory. I have it already here. I call it FOSSASIA Event Here Workshop. And then I start cloning my the stuff. So I just, the FOSSASIA GitHub is this one here. Then I'd leave this out. And then let's clone these 4 repositories. This will take a bit of time. Oops. So there is, I will not do this here now because I will not commit anything here, but in principle you can just add your personal clone here as a remote, and then, I mean, I think I don't have to explain how Git works or GitHub works, so that you just push your development branches to your own personal clone and make a pull request from there. This I will skip today. And yeah, a bit more. So we are finished, everything is checked out. Just to tell you, so what we have now, these 4 directories, Event Docker, Talk, Tickets, and Video. So the next step is to build Docker images, right? So as I said before, we run everything in Docker Compose, so you need for this local, for your local deployment, you need Docker images. And so I prepared in all the make files, there is a target make local, which creates a Docker image, a bit of specific Docker image for local development, based on your user ID, so things that you can easily run it, and then the files are based on your user ID. Let's do this, go into the event talk and run it, make local. So this is then now a normal Docker buildix. You see here, we just built for the normal Linux, and we add here build arguments, the UID and the group ID. The reason behind this is that you can then, the files that are generated within the Docker have your user ID and group ID, so it's easily readable, writable for you. These are a few more things that are changed in this development build. Yeah, this is. Is anyone following along, or? That it will probably take a bit longer for you because I just built it before and tried that everything works. So the build was actually quite fast. Yeah. So, but take care. What is this? No, it's so. I didn't touch the, okay. So this is not pushed anywhere, right? This is a Docker image that you build locally. We don't push it. It's just because you develop with it, you might make changes. So don't push it. We will see later on, we actually don't have to rebuild this always, because as long as there are no changes in the main structure, you can just edit code because the code is mounted into the running Docker image. So you can, on your normal system, edit the files and it will be reflected in the Docker image. So when this is done, we do the same with event tickets. Again, this is fast now on my machine because they were built just half an hour before. You probably, if you run it on yours, it will probably take much longer because you have to pull the base image and then it does Debian install and npm install and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. Should I wait for your runs being finished, or? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but okay, I mean, yeah. So the basic idea, what we will do later on with this image is we run them in Docker Compose and mount the local sources into the Docker image also, so you then can edit on your local machine like a normal, and the changes will be reflected in the Docker image, which makes it convenient. If you change something like on the outside the Python code, things like how things are startup, of course, then you have to rebuild the Docker image. But as long as you just do Python code editing, then the changes will be immediately carried over into the development environment. So there is no need to redo this every time. Okay, that is something I can, at the same time, everyone who runs the Docker image can probably do this at the same time, do run this magic invocation. Don't ask me what they are doing. Sorry, I'm not a front-end guy. So everything that NPM or whatever does is like black magic to me. If someone here has more experience how this can be sped up or improved, I'm more than happy for any any contributions, because I just don't know how anything NPM or Vue related runs. Sorry about this. I copied it from some other setup and it seems to be necessary. Don't ask me. Yeah. So that I don't know why this NPM always takes so much time. It's like, oh, thanks a lot. How is the Docker build going? This problem.
It's not a Docker command. Oh, how does that?
Which version is your Docker?
Should be the. How do you do this? This version?
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's
It might be packaged in a different way, no?
interesting. Is this Arch or what is this? Okay, so the local needs. I don't know. I was forced to run on M1 machines, on Apple machines, which have a different processor architecture, and you need to ensure that you build for the x86 architecture. And with the normal build, it doesn't work. And yeah, so there are many more things you can pass in environment variables and all stuff, build variables to build X. So I thought this is already included in the Docker, but seems it's packaged separately. Good point. Yeah, no, it's good. I will put it in as a comment in the README. I just have it always running. Building for production, we are still here, right? Well, whatever they are doing. Magic of JavaScript. So how is it going on this side? Okay, that looks good. Are you at cloning stage?
Oh, you already installed it?
Yeah, you have everything running. Someone is writing tech code, very nice. Oh, okay, it starts building. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so what is this doing? Is this magic tree shaking, people are saying? I don't know. This one here, don't ask me what it's doing. But why does it take so long for?
Because there are a lot of, especially with working with
you have the package, and the package has its dependency also. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have already downloaded everything. Why does it still take? Forgot to put this. This needs to be done, this part here needs to be done in the Eventier Docker directory. So don't do it outside. Go into the Eventier Docker directory and call these 4 lines. In principle, it generates a data directory and subdirectories. So the setup is there is a directory config that contains all the configuration files, and data is where data that is generated during the build, during the run, the database, everything's in the data directory. So if you want to have a clean start, just delete the whole data directory and recreate it here. This is only, it's just changing the UID and group ID. I mean, it should be anyway automatically in this way. Yeah. And then there is one step, so there is this env example. So, of course, for a real setup, all these passwords should not be like, what is it, change me, whatever. Also the configuration files, but this is not the only place where this password is set. So if you, in the config directory, there is, for example, if you look into talk and pre-talks config, there is also this change me, the user and the password for the Postgres database. So if you do a real setup, of course you have to change this Postgres user, Postgres password, and a lot of other configuration. The configuration here files, pre-talks and pre-ticks, they all contain like the secrets for the database, for the connection of the database, but also some other like client ID and client secrets. These are all things that you don't have to do for local development because you don't expose it to the web, hopefully. But you have to do it for a real deployment in case you want to ever do this. So yes, this .env .example, you just have to copy to .env. You don't have to change anything at the moment. These last 3 lines, just in case, because I tripped over it, it's important. Why is this still running? This is incredible. So you see here in the Eventier Docker directory, I have this config directory and I need to make the data directory, I haven't made it. And these environment variables point to the directories you checked out. So if you rename them or put them in other directories, you have to change them. Because those directories are mounted into the Docker images, into the Docker container, so that you can edit them, the files directly there, and it is reflected in the Docker Docker container automatically. If this is pointing to the wrong direction or the wrong directory, then everything breaks down. It happened just to me before. Where we have been here. So you see this, we have done this, we have done this, we have done this, we have done this, done. Stop. Yeah, mine is also running. You see this is, oh, finished, finally. It took like 5 minutes to generate how much? 1 megabyte? 2 megabyte of JavaScript? Very efficient. Well, you're still there? You should open the README development and copy from there. That would probably be easier. Because so then let me also create this data stuff myself. Now I have to go into the event Docker. So we are here. Yes. Let's create these directories. That is fast. So we have here now like the config directory. The data is I just created. This is for local and config. You see here the files of the config directory are actually checked in. So there is the web service event here up for the front. The others are actually not necessary. We only run event here up at the moment. The Postgres, Docker entrance, nothing to edit here actually. If you want to change something, you have to change the pre-talks config, predix config, and valueless config, and this one event here. And that's it practically. Let's go back to here. So we have done here. No, that I haven't done. Env. We don't need to change anything here because everything is set up like this. What's the state of those who are running? Docker image done? Okay, good. How's the state here? Building? Oh, well, it was finished, right? Yeah. All three Docker images are built? Perfect. Building, yeah, okay, well. You can at least, I do these kind of things, the .env file you can set up in the meantime, and while the Docker runs, you can also, so the setup for in this example uses the URLs app.eventie.com and video.eventie.com. Now, if you run it locally, you don't want to point it to the actual eventie.com server. You want app.eventie to point to localhost, so you have to edit as root normally the etc hosts file and enter this here. Right? I just show it here. You see I have a lot of entries here. So and there is, for example, the 123 service, so the local host for app eventie and the same entry for video eventie. This you have to enter. And then after this you should also check this actually works by pinging it. One hand typing, I love it. So you see it connects to the local host. This is nice. And maybe video. And well, if you in case you want then actually access the real one, you have to remove this again. Don't wonder while then suddenly app eventie is not reachable. So this is during development. You could change the URLs to something completely different. I will probably make a new document when I run it locally to try to change it, but many things are quite fragile because the Nginx configuration would need to be changed. There are a lot of places if you change the name, the deployment name, the URL. There are a lot of places you have to change, so it's rather shaky to just use an arbitrary name. So it's the easiest way is to just point these server names to your local host. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, okay, it's a good point. Yes, interesting comment from Marco. So we have everything, so the architecture, I cannot write somewhere. So the architecture is that in the Docker Compose, there are a lot of services. there is the original ticket talk and video component, then there is 2 Redis servers, then there is a Postgres database, and in the Docker Compose is also an Nginx. The Nginx runs on this app.eventy.com and then distributes to the respective ticket talk video components in the Docker Compose. So there is only one entrance, and this is app.eventy.com. The video is necessary because out of WebSockets and connecting from the outside, during development it's not that important. So every connection goes to app.eventy.com and then tickets, and this is then rerouted by the Nginx Docker container to the ticket container. So in principle, you don't have to set up anything outside. You don't have to have whatever, Nginx or Apache running or anything. Everything is in the Docker Compose and everything. So there's a lot of logic in this Nginx configuration that distributes requests depending on the URL. If the URL finishes with ticket, it goes to the ticket container. If it finishes with talk, it goes to the talk container. It finishes with video or web app or something, it goes to the video container. And so that from the outside, you just have one entry point. This is this app.eventy.com, and inside everything is automatically distributed. That is, I'm not, probably for local development you don't need it. I haven't tried it. In principle, if later on, if you want to actually try out a video stream, the server connects, the client connects to video dot. Probably, good question, maybe you know.
So I think it might just be left over that
Yeah.
wasn't removed. Yeah, because like we also moved video to /video. However, the access to video is actually through a token, which is different to the ticket and the talk component, which are sharing the single sign-on.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's say many things are moving target. Just throw it in to be safe. It doesn't hurt. We will probably, when everything has stabilized a bit and also more easy to reproduce, we will have a much easier setup with just putting in one place the URL. That will come in the hopefully near future. The current state is that it needs a bit of work. So in principle, if your builds are ready, we are ready to actually start the whole bunch. I just wait that all your Docker builds are finished and the stuff. No? NPM is right. NPM for now is not a problem. That is, yes, yes, you need it. But the Docker stuff is finished. So maybe, so for those, because we have this Docker Compose dev, maybe I go through this for people know a bit. So what I just said, so there are a lot of services. So one is this talk component, and you see also the Docker images all use this .local. This is, this is Docker Compose dev. This is the YAML file that is only for local development. Uses this local here. And then you see, so you see here that we mount a lot of data into, so we mount the configuration in there, then the data, and for local development, because we want to change the files locally, we mount the talk repository itself into the pretext inside the container, so we can just edit on our own system directly, and it is mounted into the container. And this practically the same is ticket for here. There are some dependencies because all these clients require the Postgres server running and the Redis server running. But ticket and talk is very parallel, so they have actually the same. The video component is a bit more complicated because it needs more environment variable setups and also another Redis. But again, we just mount in the configuration, the data directory, and the code of the repository. The video web app is actually uses the same Docker image. It just has a different entry point. It uses this npm, well, you know the magic. Then there, as I mentioned before, there is a Postgres image that runs, that contains all the databases for all the three. Well, actually there are only 2 databases, but well, 3. So they are created here. So this is from, yeah, that uses a bit of magic because the normal Docker for Postgres only allows setting up one database. And so there is a way by providing an entry point script that is also checked in here that you can create multiple databases in the Postgres Docker image. It runs also a health check, quite normal. Then we have 2 Redis running. Yeah, eventually video somehow wants to have 2 different Redis, I'm not sure. And then there is, as I said before, Nginx. This runs the whole logic of distributing requests from the main entry point, the Nginx, to the different Docker images. And this is based on this repository here. So it's a Docker image that contains Nginx and Certbot for the SSL authentication. So in a normal circumstances, you would just have Certbot authentication. Lots of things can be set here. For local development, we use this use local CA. What does it mean is that it creates a local certification authority. It just creates with OpenSSL something, creates a certificate, self-signs the certificate, and uses this. Why is this necessary? Because between the components, we have webhooks, and the webhooks require an SSL certificate. Without the SSL certificate, the webhooks will not be executed, and the certificate needs also be in the trusted store. So that is a bit inconvenient, let's put it this way. Yeah. And so this watchtower, that is not really important. So on the real deployment, we use this for the updates. Watchtower is a very convenient system. It watches Docker containers running, and if it finds a newer image, then it restarts the deployment automatically with the newer image. So this is just because it's in the main configuration file. Yeah, that is. How is the state with the NPM build? I love it. Well, then we wait a bit longer. Yeah. Have time till 2:30, right? Yes. Yes. So the question is that the current passwords for the Postgres database are saved into multiple configuration files, and whether we can unify this, right? I don't know. I need to check. At the moment, as far as I see, the ticket and talk configuration require the data to be saved into the configuration file. I'm not sure that we can use .env files to get this, or environment variables to get the password into the ticket and talk components. If this would be possible, then we could run everything with .env files, but yeah. No, the problem is you want to replace on the fly the pretix.config file entry. Yes. Use this for the.
So what I'm thinking is, like, could you load some .env file into your environment, and then, I mean,
Yeah, so what one could, so as I said, of course, I can set the password in the .env file, then it is in the environment, but the ticket code, I don't know whether the ticket or the Python code reads it from the environment or only from the configuration file.
no, can the configuration file point to an environment variable?
Oh,
So when you run, you say
it'll
that,
redirect to environment variable, you mean?
yes. I mean, I think it will only get it at startup time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So I don't know. I don't think this is directly supported. Nice project for a GSOC or for a student to just add proper dealing with environment variables set for a secret. Definitely a good idea. At the moment, I don't know, so you have to change it in all the files. It's not optimal, I agree, because especially secret management should not be in multiple configuration files, but yeah, that's the current state. Something we can work on. What is the build state? I can at least show what the next step is. So after this, you run this magic command. So it runs. It requires it requests to run based on this specific Docker composed development YAML file, and the -d sends all processes in the background. Yeah, so that does, let's run this. So it creates then, you see, it creates the network. Why is this so strange? It creates the network, the Redis, the Postgres, all the tickets, so quite a lot of services. If you then look into the, yeah, it's a bit, yeah, you see all the services running, so you have the Nginx, this is the main entrance. So just a warning, in case you have a web server running on your machine, right? I mean, some distributions automatically start up Apache or something. This will fail because the embedded Nginx container wants to run port 80 and 443. If you have already on the outside, so in your operating system, web server running on any of the port 80 or 443, you have to stop it before running the Docker Compose, because otherwise the port, I mean, only one process can listen to a certain port. And then there's the video component, the ticket component, the doc component, the web app video component, Redis, Postgres, and the watchtower. So everything runs. And then we can do Docker compose -f, Docker compose dev logs -f. So then you see there is a lot going on, or there was a lot going on, right? It is rebuilding everything. That is something that actually from the NPM side, it would be great that it's fixed, because it seems to rebuild the NPM stack every time you boot it up. I don't know why, again. After some time, like I was talking, so after some time, there should be no log anymore. It should just settle down, right? Everything is running, nothing crashed. The logs don't put anything out anymore, and we have all the services running. You see they are all up 2 minutes now. That's okay. That is something important. After you have kicked off and started all this, don't go to the respective URLs. You first, if you go to the URLs and browse there, it will host the system. You first have to log into the container and set up the super user and connect them. The reason is that the same user needs to be set up on Talk and Ticket so that the cross login, that you only have to log in once and then you are logged in everywhere. So if you have come up to here and everything is running, then you have to log into the event here ticket once. This is this line here, docker exec ti. So that everyone hopefully knows what this is. Then you cd and then you call pretix. It's all written here, right? Pretix create super user. So that will crumble a bit. Blah, 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 blah. There are warnings. We should look into this. There are things that needs to be fixed. That showed up recently. And then it asks for a username and password. So okay, that's it. Just remember the password and the username. Don't forget it. I mean, that's obvious. You also have to do the same now with event. Oh, I did it in the wrong order, but it's not important. So I did ticket. No, I did ticket already. So I now have to do the same with talk. And then in talk, the comment is pre-talks init. It's a bit different, right? Sorry. But again, it does something. Whatever, and then ask you, here you have to enter the same username and the same password. So, I mean, you don't have to, but if you don't do, it's very inconvenient, or not actually working probably. What did I use? Hello world, right? Yeah. So now we have both in ticket and talk, we have set up the super user and created the initial user. And the setup is now done. You can actually now go to, if you have already changed, you can go here and it will show you that the connection is not private. Why? Because it is a self-signed certificate that we created locally, so the browser will warn you on the first entrance, so you have to say go advanced and yes, trust me on that one. And then you go head over here, and then you can log in here. And we are here with empty, and you can, at the same time, you can also go then to the talk component. And you click on login, and if you use the same username and password, you should be automatically logged in, right? So the problem is here, so the accounts are connected. Now, if you wrong different passwords, then it doesn't work. So that's the reason I said use the same username and password, then you are logged in, and then means we have this more or less running. You can then go to the original, so the entrance. This is the dashboard, my events. You can create new events. So I'm not in, we don't have organizers. Yeah, so we have to go into admin mode and then create a new organizer like I'll just create some whatever, an organizer, and then my events, and let's create an event like post tickets and video and foo.org and let's say English and what? No Japanese? Depressing. No, it's just only English. Otherwise I have to enter too many things. Then, so whatever event, You can set it to a random string, or you just put something here. Then you, let's say, let's start in 25 to 28. Currency, nothing to be done. Continue. And then we are done. You can go to tickets for this event. You can create, well, I mean, that is a different topic, right? I mean, how to maintain the system. I don't want to go into details here, but you have practically a system running now that can have organizers, can create events that have both ticket and talk components and video components, and all this runs now locally on your machine. So everyone uses the same password, so please don't expose your stuff to the wild world or whatever. That is more or less here. I just want to say, if you want to develop something, for example, you want to change something in the, why is this not here? Attach project. Where is it? And let's say, let's attach the, we have to do it, where was it? Workshop. I have to use the right one. Event here Docker. Oh no, it's not here. Event here tickets. Let's add this one here. And then let's say whatever. I don't know. If you want to what should I change that is easy to see? I mean, that's not so trivial. Staff session event. Where are we? Tickets. What? Yes, we are here. Shop 0 orders. So, for example, we could. Tests, common, here, no paid orders, whatever. If you change something in the templates here, for example, where is it? Source, templates, predict space, forms, no. Are common here. No, control, templates, orders, need index, order details. Yeah, so in principle, if you change something here in the templates or in the Python code, all this will automatically run in your invalid Python operator. Yes, I know. It's not. So all of these will automatically show up directly in this event here. Also in the code, it is the Gunicon server runs in hot reload, so every change is automatically applied to the actually shown files. Yeah. That is a way to do development that should be possible for all changes. What's the state? Did you get it running?
Oh, I did. I think it's running on my side.
Oh,
I
great.
still need to create a super user thing.
Yeah.
I have one question. Like in the previous, I think in tickets, you have something called event year commons.
Yes.
What's the purpose of that? Is that supposed to be some entry point?
Yes. So this is in principle. Here, common. Yeah. So you can. Yeah. Sorry. You can go here to the dashboard, main dashboard. So what you have here is a list of events, and you can jump to the tickets part, to the talk parts, or the video parts. A video doesn't work. So here, this is so to say the common dashboard for. This is implemented in the ticket component, but is then linked to the /common. It shows links to the tickets part, to the talk parts of all the events, so that you can go directly to there and yeah, you can create organizers, everything there. So that is the part that is added that connects somehow all the components into one dashboard for the front end.
Okay, so so we started this project with different components, but now the question is how to get from one component to another. I can see that you just changed the URL. Of course, it's the developer approach. People who work with terminal and so on, they're used to that. We can't expect normal users to do that. And so how to create an event, and for example, then that the event gets created also on the talk component. Yeah, we don't want people say, okay, go to the talk component, create everything again. So you can create an event here, and for now it's very minimal, the comments component. It just has very few options to create the event, but it gets created on all components automatically. So this is the beauty, also the languages and so on, like everything gets aligned, and then in the end, like what Norbert showed just now, you will have a kind of like very basic dashboard. We will check later what we can move here as well. For example, there are a few things. If you go to the tickets component, for example,
Wait, before. So this is the view for the common view for an event, and so here you also have links to the talk tickets and talk dashboard. You can reset it up and change a lot of things, or you can, for example, go to the ticket dashboard for this event here, and yeah, then set up like what kind of tickets you want to sell to your attendees.
Yeah. So if you go, for example, to settings here, like as an example, like what we could change in future on the left-hand side. So we have like different settings, like let's say the email settings on the left.
Here, this
the email settings. So if you click there, you can see that, for example, we can have a sender name. We can every event can define their own sending email, their SMTP address, things like that. If you go now to the talk, you click on the talk component on the there.
Oh,
It's not working. Why it's not working?
interesting. Oh, interesting.
Maybe if you take the URL talk out from the talk/talk, maybe it's like, usually it's a URL problem. Can you take from the URL just to the talk? Maybe sometimes that's already solving the problem. No. Take a step back.
That's interesting.
Maybe just go to talk, delete everything and see if the event is there or not.
Yeah. Oh. Wait. Oh, it wasn't generated.
Now go to events.
No, it's not here. Okay, something failed here. Good idea. So what you normally then do, good example, something failed in the setup. I don't know. So Well, you see here, that's development, right? You see that something failed here. Error sending back webhook to talk component, unaddressed URL. That is interesting because that was working. Yeah. Yeah, I had it working, so I need to check what was going on. It could be that from the SSL certificate, or some parts didn't, so weren't properly installed. Normally, then fails here. For example, here there is the error sending webhook to talk component unauthorized. So that could be that, for example, the SSL certificate wasn't created correctly or something. So yeah, well, this is then where you start debugging code.
So, but I can mention what I wanted to show. Yeah. So, for example, like we have the same settings on the talk component and then also on the tickets component. Yeah. So basically, if you want to send an email to speakers, you will configure the SMTP, everything like in the speakers component. But if you want to send now an email to attendees who got a ticket, you again have to configure this. So this could potentially be a component that you move to the common area. So you just configure it once.
We can explain it here.
Yes, and you bridge them, but we probably have to like create a hook or something, like on API. So even though it's visually it's quite a simple change, like right, yeah, and this is also like, so you see these kind of questions that are coming up now. We base our work on like existing open source projects. We also use components that we developed previously for the Event.ea system in the whole infrastructure, because what you see here is not the only thing that we have. You experience, for example, at the FOSSASIA Summit now that we have a badge component and a badge check-in, which is another component that we developed previously already. So there are more components to this, but the question now is, what do we do? Which way should we go now? Moving forward, should we like maintain like different components? There is a thing that, for example, the talk component is still using pre-talks as a base, and we would like to stay compatible because like there are other developers working on it, and that's also a question to you, Norbert. Now, after you made this happen, this huge one Docker build, everything built, what do you think? Like, what should we do now?
Oh, well, I mean, just first of all, I mean, in the real deployment, it is working. If you look here, this is the common component on the real deployment, a test event where we have a tickets dashboard here and the talk dashboard here so that was created from the common front end. So in the real deployment, it actually works to properly create these things, but there are some, like, because there are a lot of methods. What time's up, I'm told. So we have probably the next talk. Yeah, thanks everyone. I hope you could follow along, and I mean, hopefully this video will be also useful for...
I just think the next is ask us anything. So...
this is now already?
Yeah. Oh, what's next? John. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so, you can always contact me on all the FOSSASIA if there are questions. And we are happy if some people contribute and help us doing this stuff. Thanks a lot.
Okay. To the badge plugins. So the badge plugin has like 5 inbuilt design and templates. Each one is very unique. Each one has its like own particular kind of information available. Like this comes up with the background design and everything. But the default one is a very simple one. It is a plain black background with the company and the job title and the check-in QR. So right now I'll just leave it to default. And to use these badges, we are going to use the check-in application later on. But right now I'll also set up the exhibitors. So for exhibitors, we have to go into plugins and enable exhibitors. So I want to mention that since it is a local system, exhibitors is not a default plugin. It is a separate plugin which is in a different repository. So if I go to exhibitors, which is event tickets exhibitors. So this is a separate repository that needs to be cloned and set up separately. So so once you set up your ticket server, you can just clone this in the same directory or a different directory and run these commands below. To follow these commands below, you just need a pip installation. It will make it a Python plugin for the Django environment, and it will set it up automatically. So yeah, I also have done that. So once you do this, your exhibitors plugin will be available. If you don't do that, it won't be available. So let me enable the exhibitors plugin as well. So in exhibitors, I can add and manage exhibitors. I already I've added a few exhibitors. Let us create a new one. Let's call it workshop. So I'm typing in one ad, something. We give it a contact mail. We can set up a logo. We can give it a URL and everything. So, and like we can also assign them specific booths. So if we have to give them a booth name, anything, booth, like something. And we can assign a booth ID. If you do not assign a booth ID, an automatically generated booth ID will be assigned. So it is an optional field, but you can still like prefer to fill it in. And these are some of the important settings that grants access to the exhibitors to the user data. So we have to make sure that they have the permission to do lead scanning, because that's when they can use the key to actually scan your badges. And once scanned, they must also be given permission to access the data later whenever required. And this is a lead scanning behavior. So basically, when there are like multiple exhibitors, we need to make sure that every lead or like every attendee is unique to each exhibitor, and not every exhibitor is common to every, like not every attendee is common to every exhibitor. To ensure that we can either select every attendee is one lead, or if you want, like, you know, even the same exhibitor, if they have 4 different devices, each device can have a different attendee name, you can select the second option, but the first one is more comfortable. So we save it. Okay, I think it is saved. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, it is not getting saved. I think there is some problem, but okay, right now we'll just use one of the exhibitors here. So this is the setup in this event ticket side for badge plugin and the exhibitors. So to use this, we will be needing the check-in application. For check-in application, which is in a separate project. So the check-in application can be found in Eventia check-in. So it is a Vue.js app built to use with the Eventia application to enable check-in. So all the check-in, all the badge generation for this event is done with this product. So it can be accessed in access.eventia.com. And one of the main things while setting up the check-in application is making sure that the Eventia setup has proper course policies to work with this. So these course policies mainly include access to credentials. So let me just open something real quick. Okay, so these are the essential course policies that needs to be given permission in order to work. This includes giving permission to a special header called exhibitors. This is for the working of the exhibitor plugin, and we must also give access to allow origin rejects and allow cross course allowed origins. So I think there's like one more policy that we need to give permission to. Yeah. So one of the main permissions that will be required is allow credentials, because all the badge that is generated in the Eventia system will be sent as a PDF to the check-in system. So in order for the PDF to work and get rendered in the check-in system, this is one of the very important cost policies that is needed to be set up, because without this policy, many new browsers will prevent it by default. It is a security feature, especially to prevent cross-site scripting and stuff. So this permission needs to be exclusively set up in order for the check-in application to generate and print the badges. So, okay. So, I also have a local setup for the check-in application. So, let me go there. Let me start. It is a very simple npm product. So, you can install and like run npm install and you must be good to go. And now I'm just going to do npm run dev, which will start the server for the application. So, yeah. So, once this is done, I can access it again in my localhost. So this is the check-in application. So basically it has 3 different roles. Check-in and lead scan. So yeah, it has 3 different roles. It has the exhibitor role, the check-in staff, and the badge station role. So the exhibitors, for the exhibitors and check-in staff, is the manual process to check-in, and badge station is an automated procedure. We'll go to that later, but right now let us first set up the check-in staff. So I will move back here. So the servers. So there is like 3 options to select. One is open event, Eventia, and testing. Open event is for the older version of Eventia and like other systems like EventPop and EventBrite, from which tickets can be imported and used along with this system. That is open event. But the newer system is Eventia, so we can select Eventia, and I'm a check-in staff. So to make sure that the access to your data is very secure, there is a step where the device first needs to be authenticated. So let's say I'm a check-in staff. So first we need to scan a QR to register the device. So how to create this QR? So in the Eventia system, these devices are common for the organizers. So let's go to organizer. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong system. Yeah. So let's go to the organizers. This is the new organizer that I created for Steam, and here we can see devices. So let me connect a device. I will choose the permission to the event, and let me just type in a name. Device 1. Yeah. Okay. So this I have given the permission for one event, and I'll just save this device. So we have this QR code. Usually it is done with the phone, but since there is no option to share my phone screen, I'm just going to use the desktop version. So let me just take a picture of this QR code, and yeah. So since if it's in phone, you generally just scan this QR code and do it. Since I'm using desktop, it's kind of a complicated process, but yeah. Okay, event A, I'm checking stuff, turn on camera, and yep. So once the device is registered, you get access to the event. But we can just select and move on, but we don't have any tickets to perform the check-in action. So first we'll make sure that we have a ticket to do the same. So going back to my event, I can, since it is in test mode, I can create a test ticket. So I can go to view event. I have a ticket. I'll just add to cart, check out, just like give basic information. 1 second. Yep. So submit registration. This is a local error. The ticket would have been booked by now. Yeah, the product has been successfully added. So if we go back to the back end, we must be able to see the order. Yeah. So we have created the order right now, and let me just one second, take the ticket to my phone in one way. Yep. Okay. So moving back to the check-in application, I will click the event that I want to perform check-in. And as I said, this is for the manual procedure. Let me take the QR code in my phone of the ticket. So I have the ticket in my phone. So I'm just going to scan it. So it says check-in successful. I have the option to generate the badge. So once it is generated, it usually takes time. So I can click print. So now I see the preview. I can choose the printer information that I want, the size I want, fit to printable area, and right now I have this printer. So I can set up all the information that I want of the printer. I can set it up manually and hit print. And oh, sorry, I did not connect the printer. 1 second. Yep. Yes. Okay, I can click print again. Let me, sorry. So it is a custom size because it's a label maker. I have it saved here. So fit to paper, and I can just continue to print. So yeah, so the ticket is getting printed. So this is one way to perform the check-in action. So let me just take the ticket out. I later use this ticket to perform the lead scanning action, as I mentioned. So okay, now let me set up how it is done for the exhibitors. So for the exhibitors, we have a different role. So we need to let's start the process again from the beginning of setting up a device specific for the exhibitors. So let me just log out of this. Let me create a new device for the exhibitor so that it doesn't get confused. So back to organizers. The FOSS team devices. So let me create an exhibitor device. Okay, exhibitor. I give them the permission, save it. It's the same procedure for setting up the device, setting up a new device. You scan an authentication QR code that registers the device to the system. So event A, I am an exhibitor, turn on camera, and you scan this QR code. Yeah, so now the exhibitor is selected. But one of the next features is exhibitors are the people who are going to access your data. So they have another step of authentication where they are required to enter an authentication token generated for them. So once we set up an exhibitor in the event that we have created, they will have an exhibitor key. So we can download this key, save it, and so this key will be shared with the exhibitors in order to access the lead scanning page. So we can paste the key here. Yep. Authenticate. So now the exhibitor is authenticated. We have all the booth and everything set up. So this is the badge that we generated. So this QR code will be used by the exhibitors to perform the lead scanning action. So we can turn on the camera and face is not scanned. Oh wait, sorry, I'm holding it. Yeah, so it is scanned and we get the data, the person who bought the ticket. So the exhibitors also have permission to add tags to the ticket. We can add tags like anything. They usually get the organization info, but we can add tags and we can take notes. And we can save them. And at the end of the day, after the event or whenever they want to export all these data, they can download the lead data that they have scanned, and they will get a CSV file of all the leads that they have scanned. Yeah. So this CSV will include all the information that you have given permission for them to access and to work with. So these are all this also includes some of the leads that I have previously scanned with this exhibitor. So that is how the exhibitor situation works. Now to the most important feature, the badge print station. So the badge print station is an automated procedure of checking in attendees. So the badge print station will only work in Chrome because Chrome has the kiosk printing feature that other browsers does not support. So to do that, ensure that you have the latest version of Chrome first, and to open the badge print station, you have to go to the terminal in a Mac, and in Windows it is the same command with the same argument. So open Google Chrome and you have to pass in kiosk printing. So this will ensure that the print window is automatically triggered in each time the print window is open. So I open it up. Let me just move it to a different screen. Okay, so let me go to localhost. Yeah. So same event A, I will say badge print station. The registering the device is again the same procedure for all the roles. So organizer, hosting, okay, devices. Let me create a silent printing station. So okay, yeah, FOSSCON, save. So now once the badge print station is set up, you can, yeah, FOSSCON, select event, yeah. So here in the check-in process, before it was manual, you go scan the QR code, you have to click generate the badge and then click print to print the badge. But with the badge station, which is like currently set up for the event outside near the registration desk, you just go, you scan a QR code, and it will automatically generate a badge. You don't have to do anything. So, and it automatically prints the badge as well. So yeah, so that is the automated workflow of the badge station workflow. So now there is like a lot of things that has working in the background. So each time you scan, the attendee is marked as check-in in the event. So all the events has a check-in list. So you can go there and like you can see that the attendee is like marked as checked in each time you scan a QR code. And the basic, essentially there were many doubts as to what data is within this QR code. Can anyone scan this QR code and access the data? Well, the short answer is no, they cannot access the data because the QR code essentially has the ticket ID in it. I can probably show you a format of how it is, and yeah. So this is okay. So this is what is contained in this QR code. It has the event name, the ticket ID, and the lead ID. So when you scan this QR code, you just get a JSON of this data, which if you have access to, will go to the event system, and from there you can get access to all the necessary information. And it will get stored if you are an exhibitor or like perform scanning and everything. So this system is built for the new event system, but it can also be set up for the old event system or like any other systems like Event Pop or Event Bright as we set up for this system. For that, we will usually go to orders, and there's an option to import orders. So if you have a CSV from any other platforms, you can click on the CSV, you can open it, and you can like start importing the CSV. So this is one of the CSVs from another platform. So while importing the CSV, you also have to ensure that the products match the product that you have created. So this CSV has products like day passes, so you have to make sure that these products exist in order to import it into the system. But right now these products does not exist, so it will throw me an error when I try to import. And you have all the fields that are available in this CSV column, so you can match them with the proper column you want to import it from. And once you perform import, all the orders will be imported there. So this is how the entire system is like working together and how the system can be set up. So if you have any doubts on like setting up the system and like how to access it, how to set up the silent printing feature, because in some devices, especially Windows devices, Chrome requires to go into the settings and like giving some permissions to enable the silent printing. So if you have any doubts regarding that, you can feel free to ask me. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay.
So it seems like there's a lot of stuff here to learn for someone that is running an event. Is there documentation on how the process should be done on the event management side?
Yes, there is dedicated documentation in the repository of check-in. So if you go to check-in, we have a separate folder called documentation. So there we have the necessary documentation required to set up the check-in check-in workflow to like manually print. This also includes the badge station workflow, and the exhibitors includes all the necessary setup required to set up the exhibitors and follow this workflow.
Yeah. Nice, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay. All right.
The way I understand the talk is basically you build an interface for people to make the event right.
Yeah.
I imagine technical organizers might like it not to do ClickUps, but to like event as a service, like event in code. Are you planning to do like something, a Terraform provider for making a conference?
Sorry, I did
Does
not
it,
get
does
the
it,
question.
it doesn't make sense? So instead of clicking around making your event, saying this are the products and the options you have to purchase, would you make it possible to describe this in a Terraform or different kind of infrastructure as code provider? It's more for fun or like maybe a bit.
So to answer this, it's one part of the Eventia system. I just had a workshop before how to set up the system. It's not easy. We are working in a direction to make deployments much more easy. That you, I mean, I haven't. Terraform is far away. I would be happy. Our current deployment, main deployment, is already a Docker Compose. It's all in one. So there's already better, but there's a lot of configuration that is necessary. It's not trivial. That will be figured out. This is a plugin, an extension that just makes it easy that the organizers don't have to do a lot of work on the spot. Like the idea was here that the user can print their own badge easily. They can check in, the exhibitors can do this. These are things that is depending from conference to conference. Yeah, so as a Terraform deployment, I think you still have a lot of setup to do. I mean, a conference needs a bit more than.
But it's a one-time thing. Like I could do it in 2024 and then like next year.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah, yeah, that is something that's probably working. Yeah.
You have all the necessary APIs that work around with the application, so you can use these APIs however you require. There's like an access token to each, like an access token that you can get access to, and with that you can work with any APIs. Technically, what you're saying will be possible.
Yeah, so I would say we are on the way. It's far away, but in principle, it would be nice that you can dump your configuration into whatever format, change maybe the year, and then re-upload it and have everything set up. That would be nice. I agree. You're welcome to help.
Thank you, Srivatsav, for the insightful session. Next, we have Meet the FOSSASIA team session. Wait. Yeah, we do.
So we make chunk and who sits where?
Okay, for the event, we have Alexander Bespin, who is a maintainer, the PS Lab FOSSASIA, and we have Norbert Prenin, who is a maintainer of Event AI FOSSASIA, and Padmal, who is PS Lab lead developer for FOSSASIA, and also we have Marco, also a maintainer of FOSSASIA. Yeah. Yeah, we have Mario, who is a co-founder, of FOSSASIA and CEO of OpenTech. It's time for questions about FOSSASIA. You can ask anything. Who is going to shoot the very first question? Okay. I'm coming.
Let's start easy. It's my first time attending, so can we start from the start? How did it start? What is your guys' part of the history? Maybe. Sounds good.
Thank you. That's a great question. Actually, we should introduce ourselves as well. Maybe. Yeah. All right. I'll start since I'm already talking. Right. So it's also my first time at the FOSSASIA Summit. Actually. Imagine that. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Welcome. Right. Now, so I'm Alexander. So I am a maintainer of the one of the maintainers of the PS Lab project, which is a project under the scope of FOSSASIA. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy writing maintainable software. That's my thing. Trying to make the PS Lab a little bit more maintainable, because right now we have some technical debt, let's say. Yeah, I mean, okay, that's my. Let's see. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Okay. So I'm Norbert Breining. I don't remember. I think I was on a FOSSASIA. No, I met Mario and Hong Fook, I think, on a Debian conference 8 years ago or something, and then I somehow slipped into this group. I cared for Suzy AI for long years. That was a project which we were working on to create a privacy-aware smart assistant, including a smart speaker with voice detection on device based on Raspberry Pi. That somehow phased out slowly because less and less developers are interested. And over the last years, I somehow cared for the Event AI system that runs, for example, the website of the summit here, but also several others. Yeah.
Right. All right. So I'll try to answer your question a bit on what I know. So far, as I can't remember. So FOSSASIA was started as a conference to be run around Asia. I think the first one that I joined could have been 2000. Wait, is it 2013? Something like that. It was the first one that was run in Singapore. I know the previous one was in Cambodia. It was running. I was doing my PhD there. It was running right in front, and then I got to learn about it, and I basically just signed up as a volunteer just to help with whatever they had there. Mario and Hongfu were running the event, and it got like the idea was to move it around Asia, but it got stuck in Singapore since then for quite a long time because it's very hard to move around. Like it's not sustainable to move every year because first you need to deal with a lot of overhead every time you move, right? Like you need to find a location, you need to find volunteers, you need to find and then you need to figure out every single thing about the conference, right? Whereas when you stay in one place, the first year you figure out all these things, and the next year you only improve on it, right? So I think that's the main reason that got stuck in Singapore. And lately it moved out of Singapore because of different reasons, but I think it's mainly cost in Singapore increased. So the not only the not so much the event itself, but actually the accommodation for people coming. It was quite high. And then last year was Hanoi, and this year it's Bangkok. And then I've been from my side, I started as a volunteer, and then I jumped into other projects. Been helping with different things, and lately it's been mostly event A also as a developer.
Yeah, my name is Padmal, and I'm mainly working on PS Lab hardware. And the first time I joined FOSSASIA was in 2017. I was in Singapore at that time, and then I got into GSOC project, and I got to meet Mario and Hong personally, and then I was able to attend the summit there at the Singapore Lifelong. And since then, I've been active in the project up until now, developing the hardware and making improvements. And yeah, that's my story. And maybe Mario has many things to add.
Well, shortly, yeah. So basically, I think we more or less started off as the idea was like we are a group of friends, yeah. We like we're all interested in free and open source technologies. So we said like, hey, let's bring everyone together who we know, and have an event and have a kind of festival once a year, and that was 2009. And yeah, many more people than we ever expected turned up, and like more interest developed. So the first event was already 1,400 people. Yeah, it was in Hanoi back then. Yeah, and also like we actually had some connections with the GNOME community. So then we had the GNOME Asia Summit there, and like it became much bigger than intended. And the idea originally was like we're all interested in FOSS technologies. So we are in Asia. We know FOSSDEM, we know open source conferences in the US and so on. So how should we call it? Yeah, FOSS and Asia, like so FOSS and Asia, because actually Padma is the only like Asian here on right now, original. But okay, Marco is based in Singapore. You got on board later. Also have a lot of connections to Asia, Malaysia, and everywhere. Norbert speaks Japanese. Lives in Japan, and yeah, and I was based at that time when we started it in Vietnam. So that's a bit the background. And actually, I was just like thinking and seeing us, and thinking like we don't really represent FOSSASIA because like for example, at least 50% I would say are female in our community, but it seems like they're working, yeah. They're working, they're busy now. Like for example, we have like 2 community members sitting right here taking care of the camera. You're also taking care of the camera, so and of the stream. So it's kind of funny that we are here now and leaning back and ask us anything. But of course we can say a lot of things. But I think like we're not the best full representation. Yeah, we can, of course. Yeah, we can represent our projects and our own background and so on, but like ask us anything. That's just like a session we wanted to come up with to also answer questions. But you can of course go to every community member here, which you see like at the registration and so on. And the cool thing that I saw this year was that we achieve more and more to really like make a pan-Asian event. Yeah. So for example, we have volunteers flying in from Indonesia, and yeah, like helping out things. We have like volunteers here from Myanmar. A lot of people from Myanmar actually joined, right? Of course from Thailand and from Vietnam and so on. So I think that is quite unique. Of course, there are more and more tech events in Asia, across Asia. Like for example, we love Coast Cup in Taiwan and so on. But like I think we can be quite proud to not even only Asian, right? So across. This, yeah, and there's Hong Fook, and Hong Fook is just standing there and waving, and of course, that's what I said, right? Like it's not a good Hong Fook. It's not a good representation here, right? Like all female and like diverse people. Yeah, exactly. You should come here and yeah, much better. Yeah. So the question is, how did we get started? I shared a bit from my point of view. What are your thoughts? Like, how did you actually, how did you join FOSSASIA?
Yes. So how did I join FOSSASIA? So the story I've been telling so many times already. When I was in university, and I went to Singapore for my degree with a Windows machine. So that was the copy Windows version that I have from Vietnam, and the laptop did not work back then. And I went to that NUS Linux user group back then. Somebody helped me to install Ubuntu. That was the first time I got to learn about Linux, and since then I never used anything else except the Linux operating system, because I realized that it's really not only easy to use, you can download something very quickly and then never a pop-up window that say, okay, you need to update or scan virus or something. But of course, it's only a small thing. The most important aspect for me was the people in the community. They are very nice. For example, they can sit there with you for several hours and teach you how to do some Python or how to run like a command line in terminal. And like people, even though some people are very knowledgeable, so they spend several years studying computer science, they are an expert in the field, but when they talk to the beginners, people who new to the community, they are very patient, and they share their knowledge, and you don't feel that there is any gap between you and the other contributor. So that is, the human aspect of open source and the community really brought me into this space, and I got a lot of opportunities from open source. I can learn a lot, and a lot of job opportunities also come on my way. And therefore, in 2009, we decided that more people should know about this, and we started FOSSASIA, originally from Vietnam, basically a platform where people can get together and learn from each other. And now, after 16 years, we are still here. And not only getting people together, we have you here today. We have many projects coming out of the FOSSASIA Summit. We are a mentor organization this year for GSOC. The application will open in a few days. Did you talk about this already? Yeah, so we have the maintainers of different projects here, Pocket Science Lab, Event Yay, someone with the LED badge, so we're looking for more contributors. So if you want to join us, there are many different ways. Help with the videos, reporter box. So all of the things we are working on GitHub. So I think we have another 6 minutes. People, if anyone has any question. So we have 6 minutes.
That question. Okay.
Looking at the tech as a space right now, I think I see some changes. Maybe the feeling is shared. Open source is still there, but it feels like it's a lot harder to do something in it or be part of it if you're not part of a big company. I'm talking about the GenAI stuff. I'm curious how you guys look at it as an organizer of such a conference. Like community, as a person in the space, I've always been one of the very important things of doing tech. And with that it comes building stuff, and I feel like that's changing a little bit, and I'm wondering how you guys look at that. That's a feeling. I would be very interested in comments from the organizers.
So I answer. So basically, so open source is a general term. I think it depends on the region where you are. So for example, here in Thailand, it's more about people organized around a particular technology. So open source people don't say, okay, I do open source, I come here. So they would say, oh, I'm into Python, I do data science or machine learning. And these people would engage in different groups to work on Python. Indonesia, people really into DevOps. So a lot of people organize around OpenStack or Kubernetes. So the idea is about, okay, get the open source people together, contribute. A lot of people actually use open source for their daily work. So companies running Kubernetes, but they don't go out and say, okay, I'm an open source contributor, but they also like use OpenStack, and they also report back into OpenStack. The same with Python. There's so many open source libraries. I think that it has changed a lot in the past, like for 15 years now. Before, people go out and talk about open source as an idea, but now everyone uses it. They don't say that, okay, I'm an open source contributor, but I work on I work with Flutter. I also make a PR to Flutter from time to time. So for now, look at this conference this year. We see a lot of developers coming also from Thailand, also a lot of international, but they all live here.
So I'm having difficulties to see a mega trend, yeah, because like in the past, for example, you organize like conference like FOSSASIA or FOSSDEM, is like we had a lot of different tracks, but nowadays we have like Python conferences, Rust conferences, yeah. So there's more, and for me it's very difficult to say open source is developing like that. I mean, we see new generations, and they don't have the feeling anymore, the feeling that many people had in the 90s, let's say, where you had like basically I feel like some big companies were constantly harassing you, yeah? You want a development tool, you had to pay like licenses, you had to do this, you had to do a lot of steps, so it was like challenging to do things. And now the young generation, they grew up with all these development tools, they could basically do whatever they wanted and develop it. So things have changed in this way, but it's difficult for me to say a mega trend. I think you can always contribute, but maybe some projects, they are more mature now, so in order to really get something merged, you need a lot of knowledge, high level, but you can still do many small projects, and I think we set some examples here, right, where we had the LED badge magic, and we went, for example, to the Chaos Congress in Germany, and then suddenly people got so excited, and the developers said, wow, like this famous developer is doing something on my project, like just a small thing. So yeah, it depends, yeah. So I think there's still opportunities to do things, but like I don't know, maybe in a few years we will look back and see some trends that happened today, and I think it's not just us waiting and seeing what's happening. Maybe we can influence things, and that's what we are trying to do also with the FOSSASIA Summit, to actually hopefully bring things in a good direction and in a sharing direction.
I can maybe give my perspective on this question as well. So speaking only for myself, my contributions to open source and free software are basically entirely done as an individual, not as an employee of a company. At my day job, we use open source software, of course, because everyone does. It's impossible to work in tech these days without using open source. But contributing back, that's still not something that my company is very good at, though that is slowly changing, and I think that is a very good thing. So I agree with you that companies and corporations are becoming a bigger presence in the world of free and open source software. But I don't think that's a bad thing, and I don't think that prevents individuals from also contributing. It's not like a room that gets full, but rather, as companies. As long as those companies are let's say good citizens of open source and engage with the community, then I think it's a very good thing. And that's not always the case, of course, but very often I find that it is. So from my perspective, I agree that there is such a trend actually, but I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I have similar comments to this. It is true that a lot of people work, practically everyone in IT works with open source. Companies allowing to contribute back is far lower level. But I think events like here, the summit, can help to push this within the companies. For example, my previous company is a big Japanese client-to-client market, Space Mercury. So when I was there, I pushed them to become sponsors here. Then several people come here to present their work. But that ships out this information. We as Mercury, as the company, are depending on open source projects to the higher levels of management, to the C levels, right? They don't see, the C level often don't understand anything, CEO, CTO, they don't understand what is going on at the actual software level. And so that is good to show them, okay, there is a lot, we contribute, we receive a lot support by using open source projects, and we contribute back. And by, for example, that Pushing Mercury becomes here a sponsor and sends talks and contributes, it also creates awareness within the company that this open source space provides a lot of services, but also enjoys receiving contribution, feedback, whatever, in many ways. And I think that is one of the great things here at the summit that a lot of people just slowly shift into and create more awareness in companies that, for example, I mean, it would be perfect that every developer in a company would be allowed like to work 20% of his time on open source projects. If all companies would invest this would be super nice. But I mean, that is something I would like to see in the future, right? That we push people, like that companies like, okay, we profit so much, so give the engineers a certain time they can work on other stuff like open source around what the company works, for example. And in Mercury, we have installed this, so people contribute actively to Kubernetes, for example, because we use it heavily. So it's not my ex-company, but they use it very heavily. So there is, as both of them change, there is a change of perception that open source is not only a tool we can grab and use. I think there's a slow change in perception that contributing back has a positive effect on the company, and that is something I'm very happy to see. And yeah.
Do you have any questions from the audience?
Yes, so I think that's all the time that we have. Thank you very much for your participation, and I hope that to see some of you sending your application for the TSOC coming up. So you don't have to be a student. So any software engineer or developers can apply. Yeah, so thank you very much, and thank you here, all my friends here today. Thank you. So I also would like to take this opportunity to introduce the next session, if you allow me through. So we have, so open source is all about collaboration, and we actually have the team here from FOSSDOM. So I don't know if any of you have attended FOSSDOM in the past. This is the biggest open source conference in Europe, and they are basically the main organizers. So they came all the way to help us with the video and streaming for this event. They're gonna give a talk about the FOSSDOM video box. So the open hardware that they build to do like streaming of multiple rooms at the same time for their conference in Brussels. And here I have Rary, Mark, and Vassel.
Thank you for the introduction.
Here's the boss.
So, hello everyone. So I hope this is going to be a good talk because we wrote it yesterday. I've completely forgotten most of it already, so I have something written up. No, I should be able to stand for 30 minutes. Okay.
We might fall asleep if we sit down. So.
Yeah, that's actually right. So what's this all about? This is the video box. This is a closed one that this is the video box that we did FOSSDOM 2025 with, and that we're testing. We're using to do the video at FOSSASIA. We have one open right there, which you can pass around so you can see what's in it, and we're going to explain parts of it while the talk goes on. So for anyone who will be bored listening to us, These URLs contain the sources, the hardware schematics, the history of what we did, how we did. So if I'm boring you to sleep, that might be the more interesting thing for you. So there is one special slide I wrote exactly for this, and this might be the larger reason I did this talk in general. Because I spoke with some of the volunteers and some of the people around here, and they looked at it and said, wow, what's this incredible thing? It's not. This is not hard. This is something that a few slightly insane people made in their spare time. There is nothing extremely hard about it. There is nothing very special about it. And it's something that everybody should be able to play and hack with. And I even have a joke, which I hope translates well enough, which is about a mathematician, George Danzig, who, when student was late for a lecture, came after the lecture, saw 2 mathematical problems written on the blackboard, thought they were homework, copied them, went home, and managed to solve just one of them. So he goes back the next day, just a bit earlier this time, and asks the professor, so I was able to solve the first one, but what about the second one? I wasn't able to. Is there something that I'm missing? And the professor looks at him, what homework? There were 2 problems written on the blackboard, but these were unsolvable problems. And so that's the thing. He didn't know, and he solved one of them. And if you don't know that something is possible, and if you don't decide something is impossible, you will be able to do it. So I have a few interesting pictures just to show that you should not be afraid to experiment. This is one of the setups we did for testing the audio mixer. And as I'm saying, don't be afraid to experiment. I'm not sure if you can see most of this, which is soldered on one place and which is a power supply. You should not be afraid to do stuff like this. It is strange, it is weird, it might catch fire, especially this thing. So you just keep your fire extinguisher close and keep hacking on it, and at the end it will work, and when it works, it's great. A short explanation on what's FOSDEM. Free and Open Source Developers European Meeting. It's his fault. The name, I think, is his fault.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But it has about more than 8,000 visitors. For 2 days, it has about 1,100 talks and 30 parallel tracks. So there are 30 rooms in our very large campus I'm going to show. There is a number there, 160,000 square feet.
No, meters. 1.8 million square feet.
Yes. Very large place with a lot of rooms that we have to set up to make working and have video for all the rooms. And we don't have a lot of time. So we have to set up this in the day before the event. It has to be working. And for the next 2 days, it has to be it has to be good because people want to see it. So I'm really, really happy to be part of it, whatever I tell to Gary, because this is something nobody else does. I mean, nobody is as crazy as us to do 30 parallel rooms with less than 30 volunteers. And here is an explanation of the problem in depth. A large event, large venue, a lot of things to do, and not enough budget. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if I talk to a few companies, I say I have unlimited budget, they'll come and make the video. Or not. I don't think anybody will be able to do 30 rooms in parallel, but I mean, it's not an option just to throw money in it and see what happens. A few details on how the setup looks like. And we're doing something close to this at FOSSASIA right now. You have a room. A room is pretty self-explanatory. You capture a camera and a presenter, the presenter's slides. You push this to a video mixer which mixes it and it's controllable remotely. And the stream from this mixer goes to stream backend, frontend, and to the internet so people can see it. There are recordings happening somewhere here that are used then for the review, because the review is the review means that every speaker and dev room manager receives a list of links where they can say this from this time to this time is the videos, and they can do the actual processing of the video that's going to be released afterward. Because 1,000 talks you can't do by yourself. That's just too much. And well, as you see, such a setup would require a very large and serious computing power for the video mixing, or not, I'm kidding. These are about 10-year-old laptops sitting on IKEA wine racks in a server room somewhere.
They give very good ventilation.
Yeah. Yes, it's cold in Belgium. So these ones run software from C3Voc, the guys that do the video in CCC called Voctomix, which is a very simple software that pretty much written in Python that takes video stream, GStreamer video streams and does the mixing. And I have to go back to the slide. I said this is not complex. This is the total amount of lines of source code for the infrastructure and most of the video. So there's some code for firmware and stuff like that. But this is 1,000 and less than 500 lines of code.
Glue.
Mostly,
code.
yeah, glue, exactly. So it's not that we three extremely smart people sat and wrote something very good together. No. This is glue. We used whatever exists as open source. We released our stuff as open source, and this makes FOSDEM video work. I have a question.
Are these actually physically lines of code? Are they etched into stone or something?
So the question is, are these actual lines of code? Yes. This excludes empty lines and stuff like that.
Physically etched into stone.
No, we just print out every release.
And historically, so FOSDEM has been there for 20 years. I'm not going to go back into the beginning when we used FireWire cameras and stuff like that in the olden days. This is the previous video box, which used, I don't know if you can see how thick this wood is. This is laser cut wood. Maybe Mark, you can explain better what this was.
Oh yes, this was a sweatshop in Latvia producing it.
So this is laser cut wood assembled, and then in it you have a power supply, you have an encoder, and you have a banana pea which takes care of the encoding, of controlling this, and a very large power supply.
And all of these components were off the shelf, so yes. Nothing was homemade.
There's another type of box which was made for slides because it has a scaler, which is a specific device that you plug in any kind of laptop and it would output a signal which is readable to the encoders, because laptops manage to output, this is one of the hard problems. Laptops manage to output some very strange signals, and which signals can confuse the encoders, and this is one of the reasons we're considering banning MacBooks from conferences.
As you might have noticed, some projections end up being yellow on the screen. That's because of MacBooks.
And that's one of the smaller problems. And so for 2024, we did a test run with a smaller version of this, which was mostly this kind of box, but we used the laptop. So a laptop which connected to the encoder and to an HDMI capture card. And it was very nice because the laptop has a large screen, it has a built-in UPS, stuff like that, which is very useful, but it's very large and unwieldy. So some people are holding the box. You can see how small this is right now. And we can manage to put all the stuff inside. And then Martin Bram came to the NOC in 2024 and said, you know, I was bored and I made an audio mixer, an open source audio mixer. I think that might be useful to you. So we thought we can throw away half of the stuff we carry around. We can put this in the box. We can try making our own hardware for the box. Why not? Oh, there are a lot of reasons not to. So then we found another person in our senior staff who helped with the design
As
of
you
the
see,
hardware.
he's
Yes.
very senior.
Yes, and he has the important tools that we needed for some of the work. So this is the other person designing hardware, and this was our motto. Everything you see in this box comes from this thought. We wonder if there is a hacker solutions, and there almost always was. And at the point you start making your own hardware, you start to get really, really greedy. Because what else can you do? I'm not going to even read through all this. This was our thought process, like, can we add, we have an audio mixer, we have this screen that fits very well and it has other pieces. Can we just have the line levels on it? There's and you can see on the switch, on the audio mixer, that there's a place for something. Can we add a receiver radio for microphones? And all kinds of such crazy things that we came with. Some of them are already in there, some of them are not yet. But for example, we isolated the power, so this thing can power receivers and stuff like that. We made our own switch because there is no 5-port switch. Most switches have ports on one side, and this was easy to do, and we made it. Now, I'm not sure how many of you say it should be easy to make a network switch, but it turns out it's not that hard. And so we worked, so we spent the summer working on it. So these are random commits from the repo. I just pulled some random commits, for example, bigger inductors for the power board. Or another experiment, or somewhere here I think was the base plate. So you see that there's a large metal plate underneath. It had to be a bit shorter to fit in the case. So there were back and forths for a while. I think there is, if this slide, if this was a movie, this slide would have been a montage with music of people working. And so we got it assembled. This is the diagram of how the assembly happens for the box. Which is, it looks hard, but it's not. This is the pretty much steps you make to just have this assembled. And it took, I think, about 10 people, 2 or 3 weekends to assemble 70 boxes that we were able to make FOSSDEM with. Here is a small photo of it. So
the Bulgarian sweatshop.
Yes, this time it's a Bulgarian sweatshop. And because we were running very late, this happened between Christmas and New Year. And I don't know how well this translates with the holidays here, but let's say we were pretty much the only people working in the whole country at that point. The rest were drunk. And we managed to do FOSSDEM 2025 with it. So this is a full box, which you have, these are the outputs for the room and the camera. There are the inputs for the microphones.
So basically, this microphone would be connected wirelessly to this receiver. It would go inside, be mixed, and then go out to the PA in the room.
And to the camera, yes. You have the screen which shows what is, this is the slides box, so this is the slide coming from the speaker. These are the microphone levels. This is charging for the different things. On the other side, you have Ethernet, power, and the HDMI going in, which I can't show right now. And so you can imagine, so we did this, we were ready 2 weeks before that. We were even getting so late, we thought we might have to rent a truck, drive from Bulgaria to Belgium and assemble stuff in the back on the way. Didn't happen, thankfully, but we were very, very close. And this worked. So we still can't believe this worked. We had the and here is what you also back there. This is the box itself. In open one that you can see the different pieces in. From this box, there are two boards which were not designed by us and one piece. So this is HDMI capture board with loop out that's used right now. It's based on the microsilicon MS2131 chip. If you go in a shop and buy HDMI capture, it's probably based on this. It's very cheap, it's everywhere. And this is an Radxa X4 board, which is a single board Intel-based computer. And because we have this question all the time, why is it Intel-based, not ARM? Because on Intel-based machines, hardware encoding works out of the box with normal kernels.
Mainline.
Mainline kernel, yes, which we didn't want to build ourselves.
And we will replace the HDMI capture one with a homemade board as well.
Yeah. So while we're here, some other people are getting bored and thinking how to deal with this. And this part, the display, is standard part.
Yes, it is.
From
yes.
WaveShare, I think.
Yes.
Which
but
is
it can be any display. I mean, anything that does.
The rest of the things, so for example, this is the switch. It's a standard chip that has 5 ports. And it has 4 external ports and one that we put in the box so we connect to the Radxa. It's a very weird switch in some regards because it doesn't have any lights, because the jacks with lights were too high and wouldn't fit in the box. So we had to make such very weird decisions at some points. But I think 2 days ago, or no, I was still like
3 days ago.
3 days ago, somebody finished the VLAN support for this. So we can actually do VLAN tagging and tagging with this switch and all kinds of weird things. Even weirder than the topology we have here, which I'm not going to show because it's horrifying. And we have the audio mixer. Now, I'm not sure if you can see this, but it has a hole in the middle because it has to fit in the box. So this is what allows you to actually have your own hardware. You can do all kinds of very strange things, and this is a hole in the board because it has to fit in the box properly. Actually, if you can see this in the switch here, the switch has an angle because it has to fit. We had to fit the fans, and you can do all kinds of weird stuff. For example, this is the power board, and the power board is something that we use to put everything we have no idea where to put. So, mostly what it gets power from the outside and gives power to different boards. Okay.
And it's only slightly over-engineered.
Slightly. Then you have for external, these are the chargers for the USB ports. You have 4 USB ports which are isolated that you can use to charge external things. They have overload protection and stuff like that. So if you plug on this board, this box, and put your phone to charge, there's a red light which will turn on and it will stop charging, because they allow only 500 milliamps of power, which is controllable by software, by the way. So we can push it a bit more on different ports. We decide that this is what we needed, this is what we're going to limit it. But we can even play with that. Also, we have a pass-through port that goes to the Radxa. There is no cable for it. There is a cable for it. And I'm going to explain what we use this cable for later. And we have a temperature sensor on it, and all kinds of...
The fan controller.
Controls the fans, yeah. And you have the audio mixer, which has 2 outputs and 3 inputs. That's it. A very simple audio mixer.
Well, it
looks
actually,
simple,
it
but
actually has a 4th input for the
it
receiver.
now even so it has 4th input for this board,
Yes.
and it has USB input and output, so you can do all kinds of weird things with it. Like one of the things we couldn't do this year was to transport audio between the boxes over the network, which we're probably going to do next year, hopefully. But this allows you to make something that's can you imagine an audio mixer that you have 5 boxes in the room, and you can plug inputs and outputs everywhere, and they are the same mixer, for example. This is the kind of stuff we would like to do. And when if you tell this to anyone who deals professionally with audio, they'll say, that's impossible. I haven't seen this, and what I've seen close to this costs 5 or 6 figure sums in dollars. We'll see about that. Yes?
Thank you. Is the video input treated in the same way as the slide output that you created? So if I understood you correctly, the top right box is for the laptop computers from the presenters, right?
Well, so we have 2 different kinds of setup.
Yeah.
So what you see in this room is one variation of the setup, which we came up with maybe 4 days ago. And then what we're running in the big rooms is 2 boxes. So the big rooms are 2 HDMI captures, one from the HDMI camera, which also does, gets the audio fed in via XLR, and then the other box is dedicated to slides grabbing. But what we're running here is video via USB, via webcam, and then slides grabbing via this port. So you're a little bit flexible in choosing how to run it.
So this is actually the next slide, and this is the most interesting thing that we came with for smaller events, because we have another USB 3 port. Sorry, I'm pointing at the box. But the thing is, you can plug a camera into it, you can plug the slice box, you can run the video mixer on it, and we have right now a single box that does the video mixing with a standard camera, a selfie stick for a tripod, and that's pretty much it. So you can do pretty much any kind of event. You plop this in a room, you plug some audio in it, and you're done. Now, what it lacks is an interface that normal people can use. Right now, the interface to this is USSH in the box and run commands. And that's something that's being worked on, but it's a fully fledged box. It has, you can control the audio mixer, you can control the video mixer, you can stream to multiple places. We're streaming to 2 providers right now, plus recording on the box itself. Let me go back. The Raxa has a slot here for an NVMe, and these ones have an NVMe on which they're recording right now. And the smallest NVMe in this size you can buy is 256 gigabytes, which fits a lot of video. So it's just trivial.
Well, and if you were wondering about the cost, because Vasil dropped a number of 5 or 6 figures, this box is roughly 500 USD for everything. So.
Yeah. And the sweatshop.
Yes.
Yeah, the sweatshop costs a bit because you have to at least feed the people. So yeah, we have the small setup over there running for the training rooms, and this is something we're still working on that a bit, but it's something that could work for pretty much any kind of event, for this kind of sized room, and because this seems to be a problem everywhere. What I've seen in different events is a lot of this stuff is actually a lot unstable. Some of that requires software to run on the laptop of the presenter, the laptop of the and there are so many different laptops, and most of them don't work. So I can't believe. And we have here a slide with ideas of what we want to have for the future. parts of this list are not known because we came up with that, I think, yesterday, are not known to the rest of the people that deal with the box. I'm not sure if they will be happy with that. But these are things we can think that we can do. Like, for example, one of the it's called video streaming for some reason, but actually nobody cares that much about the video. The most important part for any recording is the audio. Because without audio, it's completely useless. And we are looking into different ways to make better audio, like noise suppression, automatic gain control, compressors and stuff like that. Because, for example, especially with this kind of microphone, people try to do like this, and you can't hear it.
Or like this.
Yes, or like this, which is worse because that one you can't fix. Please
Yes.
don't. And the box also comes with, so it has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on the board. And we can make you can control this probably with a phone if we write that part, which probably exists somewhere. We can have to write some glue and say, okay, here's a Bluetooth interface to the box to change slides, to change how it looks like, or something we didn't write, but we can probably load all the slides of the people talking in the box, and they can just change slides in there. They don't need a laptop, stuff like that. So,
well, there is a secret second USB port which isn't exposed, but we could also use that to have a USB stick, whatever.
Yeah.
There's other ideas like environmental sensors, temperature, particles per.
The point is, it's a big playground, I think.
Yes.
It's very modular, unlike almost everything else in the video world.
Yes.
And so this is a large metal plate, so that's the metal plate is a bit of a coincidence. So it's extremely helpful, but we were looking into how to mount the boards inside, and we also had the problem that the device was overheating. And we thought, why don't we put just a metal plate so we can just screw everything to it? And that also is an extremely good radiator. Now, my idea to have this as a 2 millimeter of steel was not accepted for some reason. Somebody said it weighted too much.
Well, and we want to fly these things all over the world, so I mean, saving a couple of kilos per box.
Yes, but you can use this for self-defense. And this is a very good radiator. It dissipates heat very well, and you can see how the layout looks like. And it's not hard to add stuff to it or to change it. And cutting a piece of metal is not something that's hard pretty much anywhere. Okay, if you do it manually, it's a bit a problem, but you have so many maker spaces and hacker spaces that if you go with the schematic of the metal plate and say, cut this, they will do it. Patch is welcome. As I said, the single box has no interface, and most people are not happy with SSHing into something and running commands for some reason. And we can start with some of the scripts for that. And yeah, if anyone runs a conference, if anyone is interested about that, we have built more boxes that we need. So we have 70 ready. We have pieces for 110, which will finish soonish. And we can make more. Everyone can make more. The sources are all there. But we have ones that are ready, and we're willing to lend them to use for different events for people that are interested, because this would help a lot with the video. Because you won't have to roll out the whole thing again, and you won't have to depend on external parties, because this is what we've seen a lot. You say, come do my video to some people who have no idea about this kind of event, and the results are usually not good. And we can, and it's not the nicest setup. So there are setups that can do multiple cameras, that can do have drones flying, stuff like that. It's not like that. But it's a very simple setup that does what you need.
Well, and why couldn't it do multiple cameras?
I haven't written that part.
See, it's only software.
Yeah, if somebody is interested in helping me doing video mixer that can synchronize on timestamps. It should be possible, not with Voc2Mix, but with Voc2Mix it might be possible. Actually, I have to look into that. That's the only thing needed, because you can send the video with timestamps from the box, and then you have to just synchronize it on the other side, because otherwise you have unsynchronized video and audio, and that looks very weird.
See, and this is exactly how that happens. He just said it wasn't possible, and then we have a short discussion, and then suddenly there's an idea. That's how most of this happened.
Yeah, so this is the reason. You remember this slide? It's not rocket surgery or whatever. It's not. It's less complex after you start hacking it. It's doable. It's interesting. This is how most projects started. Hold my beer, pretty much. And the box is really made hackable. People should play with it. This is why we're giving this so people can look into it and see how it is. And yeah, people just, the only thing you need is to start, that's it. Any questions?
So I have a question about the server room setup. Why do you choose to use laptops instead of like small computers or even full computers or something?
Because laptops are cheap. We bought these second-hand for next to nothing from a hardware recycler. And so we just run them, and they cost us next to nothing.
Also, they have UPSs built in.
Indeed. Yeah,
You tend to
interesting.
trip the power at conferences for some reason.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any questions?
On like the nice to have or like feature list of the slides.
Speaking to the
On the
microphone.
like the nice to have feature list of the slides. I think at the end you didn't mention one of them. Oh. What's a pony?
It's a small horse that's nice to look at.
You know, My
I thought it was
Little
some,
Pony.
Like, AV thing I didn't know.
Yeah. Why do we have to carry these boxes everywhere? Can't they walk around themselves?
Ross,
Come on.
Ross.
More questions? Okay.
So today, if you want to have support for more than a single camera, you just need more boxes, or how would you do that?
I need so more boxes, plus I need to have a way to synchronize the video between the boxes. There are multiple ways for that. One of them is supporting the mixer. Another is to be able to start the videos exactly at the same time and be able to synchronize keyframes on output and ingestion. And to have a mixer with enough, a physical machine with enough memory bandwidth to do that, because this is the bottleneck we're hitting on the current laptops. It's actually not CPU, it's memory bandwidth.
Like 1080p, so 1920 by 1080.
A 720p is okay actually, will be
Yeah,
okay
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
cameras,
Yeah.
but 1080 is not.
You're speaking of 1.5 gigabits only for the raw video. If you see what I mean, right?
And we're running that on 10-year-old laptops. That's why they're cheap.
Yeah,
So
okay.
any more modern machine could
this
do
is
it.
another-
So this means that AI-powered video mixing automatically just comes out for FOSSASIA 2027, or already can we expect that on 2026?
So part of this is we're lazy, really lazy. We can do a multi-camera setup in the large rooms, but that would mean we have to put people to sit in the cameras. We have to find some people for that. Otherwise,
that's the AI road.
AI with servos,
I
yeah?
don't trust AI in any way. With stuff.
No?
We make hardware and give AI access to it. We're all doomed.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? Okay.
When is it hitting Amazon?
Sorry?
when is it hitting Amazon so we can buy and ship?
Oh, right. Why isn't it available on Amazon so you can just buy and ship? Well, yes.
It is available in GitHub. Download, build it. I think for the most, yeah, I think if you go look at what's in GitHub, you can order most of this from, so the boards you can order from GLC PCB or Eisler or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, everything is there with a BOM and everything. You can pretty much just order it from JLC PCB. So.
But have you considered commercializing it? Because after all the work that went into it,
it's our playground. It's not our
job. Part of we're lazy.
Yes. So I mean, I'm pretty sure some parts, even on their own, would be quite interesting. Like the remote-controlled audio mixer. I think in total that thing costs what, less than 100 euros in parts and assembled and everything. Those things commercially sell for multiple €100, and ours is better. Well, yes, it is better.
In some ways, yes.
So, I mean, I'm sure there's something viable in at least some components, but yeah, it's our playground. We would if we had the time for it, but we're lazy.
Yeah, I think that is all the time that we have for the session. Thank you, Vasil, Gary, and Mark, for the insightful session, and thank you for making. Thank you for making this streaming possible and easy for everyone. Yeah, thank you for being an awesome audience. Yeah, that's it for the today.